If you grew up in the early to mid 2000s, there may be a chance you've at least heard of the charming little Canadian series known as Peep and the Big Wide World, which was about a trio of cute stubby birds exploring the outdoor environment surrounding them, accompanied by narration from Jessie from Toy Story, running from 2004 to 2011 on channels like TVO, TLC, and PBS. The cartoon's origins start with two short films from the National Film Board of Canada, made between 1962 and 1988 by the late Kai Pendo. Then, many years later, as this current millennium just started, we would get the more familiar Peep TV series, produced by WGBH Boston and the Torontonian animation studio 9 Story Entertainment, easily among the most memorable work from that studio. However, there is something in between the NFB shorts and the official TV show that I want to talk about today, something that arguably falls under the category of lost media, and it's regarding the fact that Peep and the Big Wide World was originally going to be animated by Boston-based animation studio Soup to Nuts. For those unfamiliar, Soup to Nuts was the studio behind shows such as Home Movies, Dr. Katz Professional Therapist, Science Court, the criminally underrated O'Grady, and that one PBS Kids show showing up in people's YouTube recommendations lately. Yes, they are indeed the Squiggle Vision Company, until they switched to the more polished Adobe Flash. Unfortunately closing down in 2015, Soup to Nuts was quite versatile, particularly with how they can switch between producing adult-oriented comedies with dry, often improvised humor, and educational programs for children that are well written enough for the parents to enjoy as well. So going back to Peep and the Big Wide World, how did I find out that this show would have been produced by Soup to Nuts instead of 9 Story Entertainment? It was back in March 19th, 2022, when I was looking up videos of the Soup to Nuts logo. And yeah, I'll let you guess as to why I was doing that. Little did I know that I would stumble upon the 2004 demo reel of an animator from the studio, Stephen Rogan. Old demo reels from professional animators and studios are very interesting brain food for nerds who are always researching around the internet, cause you'll never know what obscure bit of media you'd uncover. Take for example this extremely rare prototype of the 1995 Cartoon Network Productions logo from Stephen W. Brandon's demo reel. Going back to the other Stephen, I decided to check out his reel, hoping to see something from O'Grady, which has its own case of lost media regarding the fact that it apparently started off as web cartoons. But that's a story for another video. While there wasn't any O'Grady material in Mr. Rogan's reel, there was a clip that's equally worth talking about and had me in awe when I found it out. What you're viewing here is a flash animation test featuring the main characters, Peep and Quack, facing a really windy day, and the former getting all wet in the process. In essence, the designs aren't too dissimilar to the final series, but the animation quality that Soup to Nuts has provided is noticeably more fluid than 9 Story Entertainment's, almost as if it were animated by hand on paper. It's most obvious with Peep shaking himself off dry. Of course, the actual show itself is good looking with its cute simple art style, but comparing the two together with their character animation, it's like day and evening. Well, at least they retained the wiggling outlines. That's a Soup to Nuts trademark. Even if they're far from the first animators to use boiling outlines. When I saw this clip from Stephen Rogan's demo reel, I was inspired to channel my inner L Supersonic Q and find out more about this super rare piece of childhood cartoon history. Is there a full-length pilot to Peep and the Big Wide Worlds hiding somewhere? And why exactly did they make the switch from Soup to Nuts to 9 Story for production? Considering how interactive Stephen is in the comment section under his reel, I knew for sure I would get an answer to my questions about the Peep animation test in no time. And I was correct! He gave me a helpful response less than 24 hours after I left my comment, and here's what he said. This is pretty much all there is to the pilot. Animator Mark Hoffman and I developed this animation test to show that we could animate Peep in Flash without making it look flashy. I'm very proud of how it came out. I was devastated that Soup to Nuts didn't get the show. The reason why we didn't animate Peep was money. Canada subsidized animation, which meant that we couldn't compete with the cost of animation. I remember telling management that we needed to do whatever it took to get the show. I loved the idea, the style, etc. But alas, this is all the Peep and the Big Wide World I animated. I thanked Mr. Rogan for his informative reply, and he replied back, mentioning that he also wished Soup to Nuts was able to do a Captain Underpants show, of which test footage was included in the reel as well. So to recap what he told me about Peep, the test animation presented in this reel was pretty much all that Soup to Nuts ever made with these characters. Therefore, no 11-minute pilot for the series was ever made, at least by that studio. Maybe 9 Story did their own pilot, who knows. Speaking of which, I'll admit, it is slightly unsurprising to hear that the cartoon had to be animated in Canada once it entered production due to budget, despite Steven begging the higher-ups to let Soup to Nuts animate Peep. Well, as a Canadian myself, I have little reason to complain, and I do understand that several anime series developed in America chose my home country to fulfill the actual animation work, often with great results despite cheaper working conditions. Besides, Peep was a Canadian creation to begin with, given the original NFB shorts by Kai Pendo. Now let's get into the reason why I said earlier that this Peep test footage is arguably lost media. Well yes, none of us would have known about the existence of this clip if Steven Rogan didn't upload his demo reel to YouTube in late November 2021. But on the other hand, if you think this is one little piece to a bigger puzzle, think again, because the Peep pilot pretty much starts and stops with this single scene. Therefore, if any of you who are active in the Waspidia community is watching this, there's no need to conduct a search party for any more Peep material from Soup to Nuts. But I still recommend you share this info around. Overall, it was extremely neat coming across this rare early footage for Peep and the Big Wide World. Alrighty, I'll be wrapping things up for this video, but let me know what are your thoughts on this Peep and the Big Wide World discovery down in the comments. Also, let me know if you like to see more Waspidia discussions like this. For sure I have ideas in mind already, including the mysterious O'Grady webisodes I mentioned earlier. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this video with your fellow cartoon fanatics. Thanks for watching and take care.